guys, welcome to your Daily Dose. Today we're talking about Sistas, Season 2, Episode 17. So we started this episode with Zach in jail. If you can remember, at the end of last episode, he was pulled over for whatever reason. The cop never really gave him a reason, and looked up his license and realized that there was a warrant out for his arrest. That warrant was because his ex-girlfriend, Karen, felt that he ran charges on her credit card and decided to press charges on him. So in any case, he's arrested, and we see him actually in the prison cell this episode arguing with a police officer that we know that he has some romantic history with. So he's arguing with this cop, and she's telling him that not only was he pulled over or was he thrown in jail because of the credit card charges, but also because they found a kilo of coke in the trunk. Zach is going bananas. He is screaming at this officer. They're going back and forth, and he's insisting that he did not do this. So he finally gets his one phone call, and he calls Fatima. So we then switch to Fatima, who, just as she picks up the phone and Zach tells her, "Hey, I'm in jail. Can you please come bail me out?" She says, "Okay, I'm coming." She runs into Hayden. Now, again, guys, I do not understand this character. Last season, he swooped in to help Andy and Gary through their legal issues, and this year, he turns out to be a complete and total dick. He's completely gross. The way that they just flipped his character is just ridiculous to me. But anyway, he again sees Fatima and tries to push up on her like he always does. But the way his attitude or his demeanor with her this time around just made her feel like something was up. So she ignores it and rushes to the jailhouse to deal with Zach. When she gets there, the police officer that Zach was arguing with starts to talk to Fatima, and they get into how Zach actually is starting to turn his life around. He's with chain breakers. They provided him with the company car. So there's actually a strong possibility that he was telling the truth when he claims that the drugs were not his. So feeling bad, she lets Fatima in to see Zach, even though it's probably against every law there is, because he hadn't seen a judge yet. She isn't his lawyer and all that. So anyway, Fatima meets up with Zach. He explains everything that's happened. He's really, really upset in a way that makes you believe that he's actually telling the truth. So Fatima says to him, "You know what? I believe you. You don't need to explain anything. I got you. I'm gonna work this out." And Zach is still freaking out, like, "I have a job. This is the second time I've been in jail in a short amount of time. I'm about to lose everything." And she's calmly reassuring him that she got it. She has him, and everything's under control. So then you get to the next scene, and she calls Hayden, and she invites him over to her house. And that's where we end with Fatima and Zach and Hayden. Probably next episode, I imagine she's going to invite Hayden over. Since she told him to bring wine, his guard is going to be down. He's going to think that the door is open for him. He's going to get over there, and she's going to confront him and probably get a confession of some kind. It's so obvious he has something to do with this, and I really hope he gets his, because he's just turned out to be a really nasty character. So moving on from there, the next big person that really drew me for a loop this episode was Andy. Andy has gone through so much with Gary, and it's hard for me, and I understand that it's actually a real thing for people to be in these type of relationships and be so caught up that you are willing to overlook some of these serious red flags that people have. But I don't know, I'm looking at Annie's character and I expect her to be really strong, but in fact she's, in my opinion, kind of weak. I know that she and Gary had this deep love, but Gary was also married. She realized that the future for them was looking kind of bleak in the beginning, so she was actually strong enough to be like, don't talk to me until you get a divorce, or, I'm going to look at my other options because this isn't going to work out. So I find it interesting that we've gone from all of that to, oh my gosh, this man almost killed me. His wife and her boyfriend set me up. I've been through so much, lost my job, lost everything, barely got it back, and is still willing to give Gary another chance. But anyway, I'm probably putting the cart before the horse. But at the beginning of this episode, Andy calls Gary and basically tells her to come over later so she could talk to him before he leaves town. We all know what's going to happen. So at some point during the episode, she goes to see Karen. So Karen is like her Jiminy Cricket, always the one holding her up and trying to get her to do the right thing. So Karen and her starts talking, and Andy realizes that she probably isn't going to get what she wants from Karen. So she's basically starts an argument to try and make it seem like Karen is in the same boat as her. Andy feels like she's probably going to get back together with Gary, so she tries to make it seem like Karen is going to break up with Aaron, break his heart, and get back with Zach. Karen peeps game because Karen is smart. I love Karen. All these women have flaws, but I love Karen. Karen peeps game, and she's like, listen, I'm not arguing with you. You are really just trying to get back with Gary. You're going to go see him, and you want to justify this, but I'm not having it. I already told you what it is. I already told you how I feel. I already told you about yourself in this situation, and I'm not going to repeat myself. Andy denies that she's going to go see Gary and tells Karen that she wants to spend the night by herself. So no, Karen can't come over and have some wine and hang out like they always do, no matter what. She wants to be by herself. Karen says, okay. So Andy ends up going home. By this time, you see her changed, showered. She's in this nice, cute outfit. And Gary knocks on the door. Gary comes in and he's like, listen, before you say anything, here are my tickets. I leave in a couple days. It's a one-way ticket. I'm giving it to you because if you give it back to me, that means I need to go. If you keep it, that means I need to stay. Here are my divorce papers. When we first met them, he said that he's getting divorced because she said they can't be together until that happens. So boom, divorced. All the federal issues that they were going through, all tied up because the ex-wife now has taken responsibility for all of it. It was all a setup. Apparently, he had a wife before her, and he explains to Andy that meant nothing. We were married for a month. I was 17. She tricked me, told me she was pregnant, and that wasn't the case. So, all that said, Andy's like, but you really hurt me, physically hurt me, you almost killed me, you get really, really jealous. And Gary gets ridiculously jealous. It is annoying to watch. Anytime Andy is even blinking around another man, he flips his lid. I can't stand it. In any case, he goes, here's the number to my counselor. I see him 3 times a week, and I've informed him to tell you everything. So Andy's like smiling, and she's just like, no, I can't do this. And then Gary pulls out a ring and proposes. And he says, you don't have to say yes now, but you could say yes whenever you feel comfortable. But I just want to let you know that it's going to happen. I'm here for you. I'm waiting for when you can have me back, and I'm giving you my all. Anything you want me to do, I'll do it. So I guess that's all she needed, because she jumps up, kisses him. She says that she's not going to say yes right now. She wants to see how things work out, but she's willing to give him another chance. So gets up and he walks out. He's leaving. He's ready. He's all gassed up. He's ready to get things together. So they say they'll meet up another time. And just as he's walking through the door, who pops up? My girl Karen. She didn't even pay Gary any mind. She just walked up and was like, hello, and is staring Andy down like, lie to me. Tell me what's going on. So I'm very excited to see how that conversation goes next week, because Karen is the only one that I've seen that can match Gary's energy. She's like, listen, you want to yell at me? You want to go at me? I have something in my purse for you, and it's locked and loaded. what's up? So that is Andy and Karen. Now we move on to Preston and Danny. So Danny is at work at the airport, and another one of Preston's relatives pops up. This time it's his sister. If you can remember way back in the first season, Preston actually met Danny at the airport when he was there with his sister. His sister was the one that actually encouraged him to go and talk to her and, get her number. So she pops up at the airport this time to apologize to Danny on behalf of their family, because over the last 2-3 episodes, you're seeing how Preston's brother, who are older, more racist and more country, roll up to the airport to basically verbally attack Danny, and she basically beats them up and runs them over with a cart. Anyway, go back and watch that if you haven't watched it, because it was actually pleasant to watch. In any case, she shows up to apologize, and Danny actually kind of mean to her, but the sister, being kind of country and maybe as naive as Preston, just accepted it and rolled with it and just told her she apologizes. It was nice to meet you. She also questions whether or not Danny really likes Preston, because the sister's like, he's young, he is naive, he doesn't really know much about the world, and she really doesn't want to see him get his heart broken. So Danny, reassures her, yes, he's green, I love him, I have no intention of breaking his heart. So the sister, goes off. When Danny gets home, or when Danny's driving home, she calls Sabrina and tells her what happened. And Sabrina says, are you sure that girl's not going to pop up at your house? Because, she came to town to see her brother, and he is living with you right now. What's good? Danny gets home, and at first you don't see the sister. Preston's there. They're talking about how the sister came and visited Danny at her job, and then Danny notices that the table is set for 3. Preston's like, I invited my sister, sorry I didn't tell you, and then she pops out the bathroom. So Danny really didn't have a choice but to endure this. Episode ends with all 3 of them in the room about to enjoy the dinner. And also, P.S., I hope they actually shed some light on this couple episodes. When Preston's brothers came to visit Danny at the airport, they alluded to the fact that their family has money. And they clearly have money to throw around, because both brothers and his sister just flew to the airport just to meet Danny. So I'm a little confused about all of that. They're flying, they're paying for tickets to get to where Danny is in the airport, because she's behind the gate. So they're paying for tickets to get back there just to talk to her. This seems kind of wild. Like, you have money to throw away just to buy a ticket to go talk to somebody. I mean, wait for them at their car. What I'm trying to say. And the last person I want to talk about is Sabrina. I like Sabrina, but sometimes I don't know. One of my favorite characters on the show is Maurice. So the whole Sabrina arc starts off with Maurice and Jacoby at the counter at the bank, and Jacoby is really hard on Maurice. All right, so he's saying to Maurice, don't call me a bitch anymore, and that type of thing. And Maurice is like, I call everybody that. You're taking it the wrong way, but if you want to be hard with me, I could be hard with you. So there's a lot of muscle being thrown around, a lot of tension between them both. They clearly don't like each other, and Jacoby has an attitude now with Maurice that we haven't seen in the previous episodes. Before, it was always him being nice and you basically trying to fit in. I don't know now if it's because he's relaxed and he feels like his job is solidified. He is more comfortable for flexing his muscle. He even threatens to have Maurice fired if he continues to use that language with him. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one, because yes, it's not realistic for anybody to be walking around the workplace referring to anyone as a bitch just randomly. But at the same time, when you know Maurice, you know who he is, and you know he doesn't mean it in any kind of way. So I don't know. I'm a little torn on this. I mean, I guess it's obvious they're not friends, so don't call me anything I don't want to be called. But anyway, I digress. So Jacoby leaves, and when he leaves and hands Sabrina his report, he has a note on it that says, "Meet me at this bar later. This is where I'm going to be if you feel like having a drink." So Sabrina is smiling, and Maurice peeps it and starts, asking her questions about how she feels about Jacoby and how she feels about Calvin. Sabrina really naively goes, "Well, I'm not talking to Calvin right now. I'm not thinking about Calvin right now because he's not thinking about me. He's not calling me," which is so silly. Both Calvin and Sabrina frustrate me. The back and forth is just so silly and dumb. So Calvin is off pretending to not be interested in her, and she is off ignoring red flags and pretending to not be interested in him. So in any case, Sabrina, when talking to Maurice, continues to deny wanting to do anything more than just be friends with Jacoby. Maurice says that's a lie, and then Sabrina then realizes that part of Maurice's frustration with Jacoby is that he's also attracted to her, so there's that tension there as well. We switch to Sabrina being at the bar with Jacoby, and they start to talk, and he's actually becoming, I guess, more relaxed with her, a little more street than you are used to seeing him, because you see him in the bank. So he's there talking about how he isn't a fan of Maurice's attitude. He calls him flamboyant and wonders why he's acting that way. Sabrina, rightfully so, says, "You know what, I'm out, I'm leaving. Don't talk about my friend like that. It's not cool." And so Jacoby goes, "Why don't you stay and educate me? Fight me back, give me your opinion." And I'm not necessarily a fan of that mode of thinking. Why does everything have to be a spar? And it seems like that's what he wanted. And Sabrina definitely doesn't seem like that type to just be willing to continuously go back and forth with your opinions. With some people, and I being one of them, if your opinion is too far left, then I leave you with that and we move about our business. And I'm one of those people who just don't have time to educate people on letting people be themselves. Make sense? So Sabrina actually decides to stay under the condition that he don't talk about Maurice anymore. I'm not really sure how stopping the conversation about Maurice changes this guy's attitude or perception. So I don't know. They continue to drink, and hopefully the night doesn't get too loose, if you know what I'm saying, because Sabrina is still his manager, and if he's already threatened to have Maurice fired, who knows, what he would threaten to do to Sabrina. And also, let's not forget that the guy that beat up Maurice in the parking lot, Alonzo, is actually good friends with Jacoby, so he's running with the wrong type of crew. We already know that Alonzo beat up Maurice because he was homophobic. He later came back, and Maurice got him and got him good. So birds of a feather, right? They flock together. I'm giving Jacoby the side eye until he proves otherwise. All right, so this episode of Sistas was a decent one. I'm very excited to see what they come up with next episode. If you have any comments, please feel free to drop it below. I'll read them and I'll respond. If there are any shows you want me to give you my feedback on, feel free to let me know. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.